So welcome. And we are at the top of the hour, so I will introduce myself. I'm Rosalyn Rourke. I am a member of this community, have been for many years. I'm an Enneagram teacher here for several years. I was a psychotherapist for more than 30 years. I was happily retired when a life event brought me back to work. And so I come back not as a psychotherapist, although that training never leaves me. I come back as a oneness coach. And that's the meaning it has for me in my life. What you interpret that to be is what it is. So it's my pleasure now to introduce my dear friend, my beloved partner in crime here at the Power of Love Ministry, Angela Mangada, and she is an angel here. She is a spiritual counselor. She's a part-time staff member here. She's so many things. She's a Kundalini teacher, which I never see in her bios. But if you would listen to her beyond her words today, take in her energy, and you will feel the power of love. Can you give us our first prayer, Angela?
Oh, thank you. I am joined by a young doll as well, but all are welcome. So, okay, welcome. My daughter Justine is starting to relax. So if you'd like to join me with your hand on your heart, take in a nice nourishing breath. So very grateful to be the two or more gathered here in this sacred space. So very grateful for this opportunity to align with our spirit. So grateful to claim the gifts of God that are here and now, that are omnipresent. So grateful, Rosalyn, for your presence, your loving, gentle presence, leading us through today. So grateful for our musicians who are also our speakers today. So grateful for you showing up today to bless us with your gifts, with your message. So grateful to everyone who's making up our audience that is adding your collective energy here. And we are grateful to Jennifer for holding this container so often, so dedicated. We're grateful to allow what is, including the sounds of my daughter, we allow it to be. We're in trust that this is a healing service, and we recognize we are worthy to receive this healing. So we allow it to be with deep gratitude. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Angela. And you see what I mean? If you take in her energy, you get even more than the words. So now I have the pleasure of introducing our musicians, and Billy is going to be our speaker today. So I think I will introduce them both right now. For Billy, he says that early in his adult life, he was shanghaied into coaching his stepdaughter's soccer team. And it was here that he discovered a deep passion for teaching that melded perfectly with his lifelong seeker within him. That passion eventually led Billy to author The Forgiveness Story, a unique workshop based on a combination of storytelling techniques and practitioner consciousness that can affect truly remarkable levels of forgiveness. Among other things, Billy is a musician, an award-winning author, a licensed religious science practitioner, a martial arts instructor, and lifelong surfer. Billy unapologetically lives his vision through music, his art, and his everyday life. He says, I've always wanted to uplift and inspire everyday people to experience the joyous life they were meant to live. The writing workshops and music give me the opportunity to touch people at their soul level. It's truly a blessing. One people, one life, one race, one kind, and just society. My vision is to assist in our awakening through music and artistry. Andrea Lane, his wife, is an inspirational singer-songwriter and actress who shares music in spiritual centers around the globe. She tours with her husband, writer Billy. Together, they represent freedom and transformation. Her latest single, entitled Melody for the Sun, embodies being in the present moment. Her music can be found on most streaming platforms. She likens her sound to John Lennon meets Lady Gaga for tea on a spiritual retreat. And so take it away, Billy and Andrea, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosalyn. Hello, we're grateful to be here today. This is a brand new song, Train of Glory. I know, we've been through so much. I know, you think it's been tough, but we were made to shine like warriors. We were made of stars and magic stuff. Woo! Let's climb aboard the train of glory. Nothing's gonna stop this train. Let's climb aboard the train of glory, where everybody knows your name. Ooh, ooh. Create a train of gratitude and know the grateful vibes will free your heart and soul. Get up, get out of that haze. Take a look around. Here's a brand new day. Woo! Let's climb aboard a train of glory. Nothing's gonna stop this train. Riding on a train of glory. Everybody knows your name. It's up to you. It's in your attitude. You could make a change, or you could stay the same. It's up to you. It's in your attitude. You could choose to fly, or just walk on by. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Riding on a train of glory. Nothing's gonna stop this train. Climb aboard a train of glory, where everybody knows your name. It's up to you. It's in your attitude. You could make a change, or you could stay the same. It's up to you. It's in your attitude. You could choose to fly, or you could walk on by. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to you. Climb aboard a train of glory. Nothing's gonna stop this train. Climb aboard a train of glory. Everybody knows your name. Ooh, ooh. Climb aboard a train of glory. Nothing's gonna stop this train. Climb aboard the train of glory. Everybody knows your name. Ooh, ooh,
My, I knew we were going to have an amazing day, and that song takes us right there. Thank you. Oh, wow. Are you ready, Billy, to bless us with your talk? He's going to set up here. We'll have him in just a minute. wouldn't you just love to be both a musician and a speaker and a writer and a surfer and a martial arts expert? And there you go. Hi. You're muted, honey.
Okay, now can you hear me?
I can hear you, so can all of us.
Great. It's it's kind of a challenge there. And that's why I wear a beret, because I wear a bunch of hats and I can just turn it around. It looks the same. So it's great to be with everybody. I remember the first time I was ever with Jennifer. Jennifer and Jesse had a place in West Hollywood at a bar. And we went there on a Sunday, and it was in a bar, and Faith Ruber brought a little PA with her, and we played some music, but it was so much fun because it was like being in a bar, but it was Sunday, and everybody's all spiritual, and they're all happy, and everybody's just loud, and it's cool. It's just like being in a bar, but we're in church, sort of. And I'll never forget that, because every time we go somewhere, it's really nice. Now we're getting live again, which is kind of cool. People are meeting and stuff, and people really enjoy just community and laughing and talking and joking, and you can really feel it now, because that's who we really are. We're meant to be happy, we're meant to be joyful. That's our spiritual thing here. That's what we're doing. We could be like that all the time, and we want to be like that all the time, but if those people out there would just behave themselves, we could be like that all the time. But so many times, somebody's out there doing something that if enough of us got together, we might think they maybe not be doing that. And if I pay any attention to that, logically and spiritually and mentally, I know that no one can make me feel anything. But by golly, they do sometimes, in the real world. And if I pay attention to them and they're doing something I don't like, and it takes me away from that point of being happy where I really want to be, I start to blame them for me not being happy. You ever get into that? And I know if I keep paying attention to that, and they don't really realize that their whole point of being on the earth is to keep me happy, and they keep doing whatever it is that I don't like, I start to resent them. And that's when it changes. Blame is it's like a mental exercise. It's something I'm thinking about, but resentment, it's dropped in, now it's in me. It's that's where all those bad juices come from that cause, high blood pressure, ulcers, whatever. But the resentment, that's when it's really fired up and it's real now. And somebody once said that resentment is like meat and poison, hoping you die. Because that's the truth. It only hurts me. Resentment, for whatever, if it's justified or not, it still only hurts me. It doesn't hurt the person that I resent. And that's where true forgiveness comes in. I need to let go of my resentment. That's the only way I can be free from whatever it is. And that's true forgiveness. It's all about me. Forgiveness is about me. It's not about the other person. And that's a little different sometimes because there is another definition for that. And it usually has to do with like forgiving a payment of something. There's always a payment involved. There's always a balancing of the scales, If it's something minor, I at least have to say, I'm sorry, If it's something a little more major, maybe I got to pay the money back or pay something. If it's real bad, I got to go to jail. But it's always this evening out thing. Entire religions are based on that, Back in the day, people were sacrificing goats and cows and stuff, just so God would forgive them, because we had to pay God off. But that never really works. That's an eye for an eye. That's judgment. That's justice. It never really, even if you pay me back, doesn't mean I'm not going to hold that resentment when I see you. When I see, I have to go to Christmas and you're there. I'm already looking for a way out, and it's only July, I haven't forgiven anybody. I don't care if you paid me back or not. If I'm still thinking that way, if I see your name come up on caller ID and I just lock up and go, I'm not answering to that, I haven't forgiven anything. I may have got paid back. And Einstein once said something, he says, you can't really solve something on the level of, you can't solve a problem at the level it was created. You can't bomb people who are bombing you and ever get peace. It just doesn't happen that way. And that's where, again, it's about me. It's not about you. It's about me releasing my resentment. And that could be a really hard thing sometimes. And I don't know, I know we got people from all over the world around here on here. And I don't know what anybody's political trips are, but personally, I really need to forgive Donald Trump. That's on me, because he does some stuff. Even now, I've been watching all these January 6 hearings, and I don't really think he's ever going to come up to me and say, oh, Billy, man, we really screwed this up. Let's call Bernie and see if we can fix this thing. I don't think he's going to do that. If I'm waiting on that, I will be waiting a long, long time. Okay, if I'm waiting on those guys who ran airplanes into the World Trade Center to say, hey, man, we're really sorry, that was a total mistake, we're going to be waiting a long time, because they're never going to do that. And Einstein said something else, he said, if I'm waiting on someone else so I can feel happy, I've got a problem. They don't have a problem, I've got a problem, because it's not up to anybody else to make me happy, to make me do anything, to make me feel better. It's up to me to do that. And it makes me wonder, we hang on to our resentments, and you kind of wonder why, but really I've got a lot invested in my resentments. I do. It's way easier for me to blame you, not you personally, but you, then at least it's not me. If I'm blaming you, if I'm blaming Donald Trump, if I'm not blaming anybody, it doesn't matter if you're conservative, liberal, whatever. If I'm blaming somebody else for me not feeling good, I'm never gonna be okay with that. And so what do I have to do to break out of that? We talk about, in forgiveness, we talk about healing all the time. I'm a practitioner. I was in ministerial school for a while. I've taken a lot of classes talking about healing. And I rarely hear what needs to be healed. Healing is kind of this random thing. But if I'm going to do anything, it's up to me to heal. That's where there's a part in 12-step programs where you have to admit your part in things. And I may say, what's my part? They did it. Why do I need to worry about this? Why is it up to me? Well, it's up to me to heal. Only I can do that. I've surfed my whole life. I've done a lot of sports. I've done martial arts. I've hurt myself a lot of times. Okay? I'm still paying for it. But I could slip off a curb and I could tweak my ankle, and I could hurt a lot of things just by doing that. It could be a bone, it could be a ligament, it could be a nerve, a tendon, it could be a lot of different things. All I know is it's swelling up and it hurts like crazy. But I don't go back and kick the curb. Well, maybe I do. I'm a guy, I might, but usually only once. I find out that doesn't really work. But if, in resentment, that's what we're doing. We just keep kicking the curb and kicking the curb. We're mad at the curb. It's the curb's fault. And pretty soon that pain just feels normal. And we just learn to live with it, and we're just not happy anymore, and that's where we need to forgive. We need to forgive the curb or whatever, because it's my responsibility to heal myself. And I found that, and that's where my book comes in, there's really only three things on a soul level, how we could be hurt. They feel like a lot of different things and they look like a lot of different things. And if you buy my book, it'll tell you what they are. But I'll tell you right now. The first thing, again, it looks like a lot of things, it feels like a lot of things, but the bottom line is the first thing that could hurt you on a soul level is I don't feel worthy. I don't feel good enough. I don't feel worthy. And there are almost all advertising, at least half of the advertising you see on TV, they're working that part of it. You don't drive the right car. You don't have the right house. You don't live in the right area. You don't weigh the right weight. God forbid you don't wear the right lipstick. You don't, it's just, you're never good enough, but we're going to help you be good enough. You buy our thing and you'll be good enough. Entire religions are built on that you're not worthy. They train you into being not worthy, which I find just heinous, but they do. And my dad was a born again Christian. I've seen the little icons that, God is up here and I'm down here and never the twain shall meet, and you'll never be good enough. And that is so wrong. We all know that's wrong. We all within ourselves and our souls know we're not only worthy, we're necessary for the expansion of the universe. We are here living God's life as God living through us. We are the image and likeness, and the way the universe expands, the way the infinite expands is through us, each and every thought we think, every breath we take. That's a good lyric. But we are so much more than worthy. We are necessary. We know that on an intellectual level. But sometimes when we need to forgive somebody and they've triggered something like that in us, at that time, I'm not feeling that worthiness and I'm blaming them for me not feeling worthy. And that's where I need to come in and say, wait a second, I am worthy. Nobody could hurt me and make me feel unworthy if I truly feel worthy, I think of it sometime, well, I'll get into that part later. The second part, the second thing that could hurt us on a soul level, and again, none of these things are true, but they hurt us, is I don't feel secure. I don't feel safe. And that happens, people that have been abused, somebody steals your car, steals your purse, beats you up, breaks into your house, anything like that. I don't feel safe. And again, 90% of the political ads and all the other, half of the other ads have something to do with that, buy some cameras, buy some lighting, get a gun, get something, you're not safe. They're coming to get you, but we're going to help you. Okay, here's the way out. This will make you safe. You can scramble around all you want. You're still not going to feel safe. You may have cameras and guns and lights and everything and ADTs running around your house. If you're still walking down the street, looking at everybody going, I'm not safe. I don't feel safe, and and that again is so false. We know that's so wrong. We are eternal beings. We are eternal. We are eternal life. Nothing could hurt us on any level at any time. Okay. This life is a blink of an eye. And if you truly believe that, nothing could scare you. Nothing. Doesn't matter if some terrorist blows you up tomorrow. It doesn't really matter because you are eternal and you will run through this life. And if you really believe, as I do, that we come and go of our own accord, those decisions are made on much higher levels. And so there's nothing to be afraid of. Nothing to be afraid of. God is within us. God is eternal. We are eternal. We are living this eternal life. There's nothing to be afraid of. But that's easy to say, and we all like to say it until something happens and we're not anymore, and that's where it's up to us to believe that. And there's ways, and I'm sure you guys do it all the time, but I'll tell you 3 ways in a little bit. They're real easy. And the third one, and this one is super common too, it's I don't feel loved. They don't like me. I don't even, if it really gets bad, I don't even feel lovable. like I'm not even worthy of it. And I'm going to put in a word, appreciation there. Appreciation and love are the same vibration. And so you may not say my boss doesn't love me, but you might say my boss doesn't appreciate me. When you're getting to that part, when I don't feel it, my kids don't appreciate me, your spouse, not my spouse, but maybe your spouse doesn't appreciate you. They don't like me. It's that simple, and really what it is, I'm not good enough, I'm not safe, and they don't like me. That's the three things. You start feeling any of that, those are lies that create feelings within us that then we blame and resent other people because we have been triggered to feel that way. There's something else in there that triggered something that was already feeling, and that's what needs to be addressed before you can forgive anybody. And nobody can do that for us. We got to do that ourselves because we are love. We are love itself. It is the Father's good pleasure to give us all the gifts of the kingdom. The kingdom is within us, and we are the only begotten sons of God. He wants nothing more than us to have the most bountiful life we could ever have. Like say, all the fruits of the kingdom right here waiting, given to us. All we got to do is open our hands and take them. And so talk about not being loved. We are love. We are it. So that those are the three things. Those are the three lies, but we buy into them. And anytime we really need to forgive anybody, I challenge you, you can take it back if you've got the guts, because it's really hard to be honest with yourself enough to say, yeah, that made me feel I'm not good enough. And that's again where my book comes in, because we kind of come at it from the back door and you'll figure it out. One of these days we'll do a workshop. I've got a story I can tell you before we get done with this, and I tell you how to get around all this. It's my dad and my brother. And they both made their transitions a few years ago. So I'm not really out of school to tell this story, what are they going to do anyway? But if my internet all of a sudden goes out, you could know they want me to not tell this story. But I think they'll probably be good with it right now. Anyway, my brother was 12 years old. He's in the Little League. He's 6 years older than me. I was the bat boy on this team, okay? My dad was picked to be the all-star manager. And there was an unwritten tradition that always been, as far as anybody knew, is the son of the manager was going to be an all-star. So my brother was all happy. He's going to be an all-star. He was delusions of grandeur. He was okay. He wasn't great, but he was good enough, And so they were talking about it at school. They're all thinking about it. And so my dad went off to pick the team. And then when my brother got up in the morning, my dad said, "You didn't make the team." And that destroyed the relationship forever. My brother took that to his grave with him. My dad was a highly principled guy. I'm sure he just couldn't pull the nepotism card. He just didn't. Figured somebody else deserved to be on the team. But that one incident, and I heard a little bit about this, but later on, my brother, when he was almost on his deathbed, had no business being alive. He hung on for a long time. He was an angry guy, just didn't want to die. He was writing things on Kindle. Like on Kindle, you can write books, and put a cover on it. You can make books yourself. He was doing that, and he wrote about this incident, and he just let my dad have it. He pulled no punches. He used every bad word you could think of. He told him exactly what he thought and blah, blah, blah. And it was really ruthless. And he sent it to me. And he said, "I think I ought to send this to Dad." And I read it, and being a brother and son and practitioner that I am, I said, "Don't you dare. Don't you dare send that to him." Because my dad was literally on his deathbed, weeks away. And I said, "If you tell him anything, I don't care if you lie to him and tell him he's the best father in the world, and you're glad you grew up with him and all the lessons he taught you, but do not send him this as your last touch to Dad before he dies." And that's what resentment will do, because my brother died with this. You know, he never worked it out. And some people might think that is like some little thing like, God, come on, man, just let it go. But no. And that's the kind of stuff that gets us, you know. It's sometimes it's little, what many people would call little things. It gets us and it takes us, we die with this stuff. And that's what we don't want to do. And that's where that forgiveness comes in, because that's where it's up to us to deal with that stuff. First, we need to identify it, you know, which can be a tough thing. Because again, our nature is to blame them, you know. But it's my job to work it out and to know and somehow know how I've been hurt here. Because what do you think hurt my brother? And if you were alive, I'd let you raise your hand. But do you think he didn't feel worthy? Do you think that put a sense of unworthiness in him, that his own dad wouldn't pick him for the team? You know, at a bottom line level, that's what it was. Dad thinks I'm not good enough. And probably dad doesn't love me. He doesn't even like me. You know, so it's love and worthiness. He's not afraid because he didn't hit him or anything. But it's like, it got him on those two levels. At the bottom line, I'm not good enough. My own dad doesn't like me. And he doesn't think I'm good enough. And he took that, and he was a worthy guy. He was a really smart guy. One of the best guitar players I ever knew. Had a great family. His kids loved him. Everybody had a lot of friends. But that thing, he was gritting his teeth when he died, you know. And that's rough, you know. We don't want to, I don't want to do that. I don't know about you, you know, but I don't want to be there when I'm on my way out into bliss. No, this is the last thing I'm thinking of this place. No, I want to work that out. And so there's really, I've got 3 ways that it seems really easy or real simple, but it works. It works. The first thing, once you figured it out, and I tell you, I don't know if you guys do, like in Centers for Spiritual Living and stuff, at church, sometimes they'll have what they call a 3-minute miracle. Somebody will come up to you and you can throw a prayer on them, you know, real quick, and it's supposed to heal them. I'm not real big on those, but if I ever do those for anybody, I just hit all 3 of those. I tell them how worthy they are, how they're loved, and how safe they are. And God, I just cover all the bases, you know, and that does it, because there's nothing else going on. I don't care, you know, if you're not making any money and you need prosperity, it's because for some reason you're looking at all the stuff that's scaring you because you don't have any money or something, you know, but it's taking you to one of these 3. And if you can identify that, I would say the first thing that I do that I recommend is an affirmation, a basic affirmation. But an affirmation is a funny thing, because you can't just say I'm worthy if you don't believe it. An affirmation has to be something I believe. And it may be something like, I know in the mind of God I am worthy. I may have to work around this thing a little bit, but it has to be something I can actually believe when I say it, that this is true. I am worthy. And that could be, again, figuring out an affirmation that actually you can buy into and say that over and over again, especially right before you go to bed and when you wake up, because you want to put it into your subconscious when you go to sleep, and you want it to be the first thing you get when you wake up. Say that, and that puts it kind of out there. It's like, it's real when you say it, you know, rather than just thinking it. And the second thing I say is count your blessings, but count your blessings according to the thing that's bugging you. Like every time something happens where you are worthy, where you do something well, no matter how small it is, give yourself some kudos for that. Acknowledge it. It's like, put it out there. Yes, I'm believing this thing. I made a good dinner last night. Hopefully I played that last song pretty good, and I can just say, yeah, you know, I did that well. I am worthy. I am good enough, you know. That's bringing, and you can do that all day long. You know, I can, if I'm looking for it, because this is what this does, it gets you looking for it, you know. And the last one is you pay it forward. Anytime you have a chance to say something to somebody, they are good enough. Say it. say thank you, say great job, anything like that. Just put it out there. You complete the flow. You know, you bring it into yourself, knowing it's true. You're putting it out there, and it's all energy. That's all it is. Okay, it's just energy. And if you can do that, pretty soon you can feel good, worthy. I'm just going to use that one. I can feel worthy enough to where whatever happened in the past, that thing I need to forgive is a non-issue. And you guys are A Course in Miracle guys. And I've heard that the Course in Miracles says your true forgiveness comes when you find there's nothing to forgive. And that's the truth. It's kind of like I could feel really angry about somebody if my boss didn't pay me right, and I think he shorted me some money, and I'm really getting it. I'm really mad at him because he doesn't appreciate me, and blah, blah, blah. And then I do my math, and he's okay. It was really right. It was just a mistake on my part. There's nothing to be angry about anymore. There's nothing to resent anymore. There's nothing there. And I can do that on every level, on everything. So with that, I'm just going to leave it there because I think I'm probably out of time anyway. But if you can think about that, forgiveness is about me letting go of the resentment. And that puts the onus on me. And that's a big deal. And if we can get there, we can really cover a lot of ground spiritually. We can really turn this around. So thank you, Jennifer. I can see your picture up there. Thank you for having me. And now I will turn my beret around and put my guitar stuff back on it. So thank you guys again.
Thank you so much, Billy. That was truly profound. It was practical, it was inspirational, and it was funny. So we will remember all of it. And let's take some time now to take Billy's message even deeper into meditation. We heard his words, we felt his words, we understood his words, and our next step is to embody the message. And I'm going to have an invitation for you. I'm going to invite you right now to enter a dwelling in our imagination, but only if you are willing to, somebody needs to be muted here. Only if you're willing to leave your mind outside, to leave your stories outside, just for a few minutes, you can pick them all back up. You're going to leave your unworthiness stories, your unloved stories, your unsafe stories. If you want to go into this dwelling, and I'll tell you what the dwelling is before you enter, I want to tell you first a few more things you might have to leave. You're going to leave your memories, your points of viewing, your judgments, your perspectives, your history. Let me tell you a little bit about what this dwelling is. What if this was the quantum field, the what is field? We could call it God, God's house, but I'd rather it not be associated with your prior view of God or your prior view of a temple or another dwelling. What if it was the what is house, the house of the supreme, the house of everything, the house of timelessness, the house of no stories, just the what is house. This is a come as you are event in this house. So if you're ready now to even leave your trying, leave your thoughts of whether you can do this or your thoughts about visualizations, leave all of those outside, the way you might just take off your shoes. Leave them outside and enter this house. Now I'll give you a few minutes to breathe in what is. Remember, there's all power here. There's no time. There are no objects unless you add objects. You can still have a thought, but with our agreement, you're just going to let the thought pass through. You're not going to engage with it. It's just going to be like a cloud moving through the sky. Take in the what is. It's a space. It doesn't seem to have a form. When I ask you, are you alive? You go to a place to answer that. That's not a place. If you think it's your brain comes and goes, just like your thoughts and your feelings. You are ageless, and I can show you that in your own experience. This is a time that we get to own and embody Billy's message of what we are. When you were 5, you wanted certain things, you had certain thoughts, you had certain patterns of behavior, you had certain likes. Maybe you liked a doll or a truck. It doesn't matter if you remember it, but they were 5-ish likes. And when you were 15, you had different preferences, a different developed brain, so you had different thoughts and you had different feelings. But were you the same I, even though your body looked different? Your thoughts were different. Your feelings, your perceptions, your sensations, everything that comes and goes was different. And yet, did you still feel like you? People often say, oh, I don't feel my age, like it's an anomaly. Actually, none of us do, because we're ageless. The I that has always been us is always present. And that I is connected to the what is. Now I ask you, there's no right or wrong answer to this. Is your experience that there are two in this dwelling, the what is and you, or is there one? In either case, whichever your answer, check in to see either where you end or the oneness begins. And if you answered one, just experience the oneness. If you answered two, where is that boundary of where you, the perceived body self, ends and the what is resides? And just allow that, sink into that. This is what resides in the background of our experience. We are usually outward focused on all the things that change, including our bodies, our thoughts, our feelings, the objects, success, our degrees, making a living, our house, cleaning, our children, our friends, our entertainment, whatever it is we're doing, studying A Course in Miracles, studying non-duality, whatever, it's all changeable. all those things are changeable because they're dependent on our brains, which are changeable, our thoughts, our feelings, our perceptions, our understandings. But the I in the background of our experience, we know is always the same. And so is the what is. So is our connection with the Supreme. The oneness is always there in the background of our experience. So if we desire to bring this background of experience into the rest of our lives, we can make it our home. We leave our homes sometimes, whether you live in an apartment, a tent, a boat, a houseboat. Think that the story you're in is your house. You go home, and then when you're home, most of us feel like, I'm home. All my roles are finished. I don't have to be anything to anyone. If you have children or a partner, you probably have some more roles, but hopefully you have that space where you can dip back into that relaxation. And so now let's just imagine bringing that relaxation, that I that's always been you, that what is, into our lives, just as a little perspective. As Billy mentioned, Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all of us are merely players. Well, we can play. Course in Miracles tells us we forgot to laugh, that this is a place we can receive differently if we don't believe it as the real world. We can't be hurt in this place. We can have feelings, but we don't have to entertain the feelings and create the stories. We can acknowledge them, examine them, and see if the feeling or thought is of value. Like it's cold outside, bring a sweater, or it might rain, you might need an umbrella. Or if it's an unworthy thought, you can let it go and put it in the perspective of, I used to think stuff like that. I don't have to attach or entertain it. I'm calling these days unworthiness, imagined unworthiness. And because it's a mouthful, it can wake us up. So now, if you would, come back into this room and bring the what is with you, your new home. And you can take back your old thoughts and your feelings if you prefer. But you can also keep whatever words you would attach to your experience. And I'll give you a few seconds to describe it for yourself, to put your own words on it. Was it peaceful? Was it neutral? I'll let you describe it. Thank you. And now Billy and Andrea, would you give us a song before we do our breakout?
Thank you, Rosalyn. Your voice is so peaceful and beautiful. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Feels like I'm walking on marbles. I can't still the earth beneath my feet. Is my head in the clouds, my naked legs left dangling? I can feel my heart begin to pound. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. At night my soul, it wanders. I can't see the light that moves me. If God is everything and everywhere that I belong, Spirit gently wakes me from my sleep. Now something's calling me a little bit deeper than I've ever been before. Something's calling me deeper than I've been before.
What a perfect song. Thank you so much. Wow. So now we're going to go into our breakouts. These are small groups. I encourage you to stay, even if you don't want to speak. It's of great value to be a conscious listener. And instead of a question, I would love for you to share just words or sentences about your experience. It's so important to be witnessed when we're being called to go deeper than we've ever been before. And let's use that song and the meditation to share what our experience is right here and right now. So you'll get a prompt. It's a small group. And please be sure that everybody who would like to speak has an opportunity to speak. Thank you, Angela. Are we ready?
Yes, here we go.
I think are we all in the breakouts? Yeah, I think so. All right. So this is the time that we get to share on Facebook Live. And I would love to hear from you, Angela, about what your take is and what you're going through now. We've had just an amazing musical workshop. I feel like they took us somewhere more than just listening to musicians. I feel like I've been at a workshop. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you all. It's so cool to do this on Zoom where we can kind of like be in your home with you and you're just jamming out, being yourself. And I feel like there's an aspiring musician, or there's a budding one, or there's one in there and within me. And whenever I see musicians mainly just being themselves, it's so healing. It's so healing to see how you use your own voice, your interpretation, your energy, your body. So very fun, Andrea, for you to, like, you're very fun. I felt like it was kind of like, oh, we're starting out with like a B-52 vibe and you're right up in the camera, and it's just really cool. And then, so I just appreciate, it reminds me when I said in my prayer, and Billy, you said it in your talk, how the gifts of God are here. And, and I feel the freedom, and I feel, mainly the freedom come through your music, which is just cool. And I appreciate it so much. And then a lot, I think my mind's still working through your talk, Billy. And there was a second, a few moments I was putting my daughter to sleep, so I had missed, but I got the steps in the recap. And I'm very committed to the forgiveness practice. I'm committed to it. And I'm very willing to see where, like, I get stuck in the mud, like, okay, we know this is me. We know it's my projection. Take a breath. And, I could hear this every single day. I want to hear it every day. I want to be reminded every day that whatever I'm angry at or whoever I'm blaming is my answered prayer. It's my opportunity. It's a gift. And what I feel like in my own development, I'm working on kind of loving myself right where I'm at when I'm believing the lies. So like when you told the story about your brother, there's something within me right now, which I feel the tenderness in, like that day he got the news. It's like, was there someone to hug him? And if he didn't want to hug, where my mind goes to is like how love is the healer, but often we took those meanings in our childhood and we started out, it started to rock our it messed up our foundation. It got like cracks in our foundation when we believed in those moments. Oh, it's because he doesn't love me, or I'm not good enough, as you said. And then, it also came to me because, Rosalyn took us to that place where we're beyond this world. Because when I spoke a couple months ago, maybe now, I had referenced this passage in a book where it says basically, this is such a dance, it's such a dance. It's a eternal dance we're having with each other's bodies, where perhaps your brother had ever rejected your father in a different life, and you don't know why he had to feel that. And so I'm also grateful for the awareness of like, okay, I don't need to fix the things I'm interpreting are sad or broken, or because as a mother of a young child, I'm now around a lot of parents. I'm around a lot of intensity around, like just the other day being on a beach, and I'm at beaches, it's hot, people are a little angry and they're kind of mean to each other. And I'm just trying to keep myself more at the space Rosalyn was sharing, was like, hold on, hold that eternity energy of, and it kind of like, not, I feel like I'm beyond, bless that mother who keeps bickering at her young grandson who just wants her attention, not just to bless her. It's something different. It's like, let go of needing to put stories on it. Let go of needing to fix it. Let go of, what's happening. Let go of the pain that your mind wants to engage in. So this is a lot that's going on in my head. I'm trying to string it together, but I just feel like those types of stories you share do touch me deeply, because there's a sort of sadness my mind goes to a place of sadness that we believe those things and we take them to our grave, or we take them on for decades, or But I like to believe that we're empowered to reclaim the truth. I like to believe it that way, like for my own life, like I am empowered to claim the truth that has always been there. And so there's a lot going on. So I appreciate all the stimulation that you've all given me. And Rosalyn, yes, it's like an exquisite journey that it's like a galactic field trip that feels so, yeah, it's just feels really heavenly. So thank you for being you. And that's what I'll share. Thank you.
Thank you. Billy and Andrea, who would like to share first?
Go ahead, I've been talking all day.
Well, first of all, thank you, Rosalyn, for having such a beautiful service, and you're just awesome, and I love your vibration. And Angela, you kind of really touched my heart right now, so I'm crying, which I love. I love it when I'm moved. It's just I love to be moved because I don't cry very often. It's been a beautiful day. I don't know what to say right now. I just wanted to say I'm moved, and Angela, thank you. And Rosalyn, your vibration is beautiful. And I always get so nervous when Billy speaks. I'm like over there holding the high watch. We forgot to mute ourselves. All this stuff going on. And I'm like, So thank you for just holding it down. And Billy, what do you want to say?
Well, like Angela, I totally vibe with you on who knows where this thing with my brother and my dad, if it's a dance they're doing through many lifetimes, or I'll get you next time kind of thing. I'm sure they're laughing about it now, but there was something there that because it always is, there's never just one thing and it's done and then another thing and it's done. It moved, who knows on what level it really affected both of them. I know my brother was angry for a long time, but who knows where maybe he made sure he didn't do something like that with his son, and we'll never know that for sure. And I thoroughly believe that all energy washes out to good energy, no matter what, even if like you said, my brother, who was anybody there to hold him, and obviously there wasn't, because my dad was a depression baby who pulled himself up by his bootstraps, and he basically expected you to too. But I know that if my brother was feeling really bad about being rejected, what he really wanted, his real energy was to be hugged, to be loved. That's the energy that washes out into God's energy, not that bad energy, because it's like I see war, but I want peace. Well, God sees the peace that I want. That's what I really want. And so even things like that in the overall, I'm sure always wash out well. It's just up to us if we can live with it or not, because we got to live our lives, and I'd rather live it happy and joyous and free than angry, So anyway, thank you for that, because that made a point that was good to make.
Thank you, Billy. And that story hit me as well, and I'm sure it hit everybody who will listen on the replay. And there are, I think, at least 500 people who watch the replay. So just so you know that many, many people will hear this service.
Good.
And there was, you made so many major points in your talk, and one of them, apologies. Yeah.
Rosalyn, I had to send a message into the break.
Okay. One of the could be considered lesser points that you made, which I don't think is a lesser point, is it was almost parenthetical. Say you're sorry when it's yours to say. Do you remember saying that? And,
It's like something has to be done there, and it's all on the level of what it is. Yeah.
Yes. And I have a little story that exemplifies that and is different from what happened with your brother and your father. but it's the same kind of thing. I was in graduate school and I met my husband in a psychiatric ward. We were both in psychotherapy training. And we had a group of supervisors that were all our supervisors. And my husband, who was not my husband at the time, he was a boyfriend. And I don't even know if the supervisor knew he was a boyfriend, probably not. We were her two favorites, and she showed her favoritism. She laughed more toward us, gave us stuff. I mean, it was inappropriate to start with. There were a whole group of us, but we were basking in it, enjoying it, not thinking, oh, this isn't right. And then we got engaged. And when I announced our engagement, she cut me out. She was extremely cold to me. And I was part of a program that was very, very nurturing. And they they wanted to know more than what we were learning. They wanted to know how it was for us. So I told them, well, the supervisors cut me out, blah, blah, since I am engaged. Well, then later on, the head of the supervisors came to visit me. And he said, I'm going to tell you something that if you ever repeat, and of course I can now because you don't know who it is and it's 30 something years later. He said, if you ever repeat this, I'll deny it. But I want you to know that you did nothing to hurt her. And then he said to me, and I'd never heard this in psychology or anywhere else. He said, guilt is based on a hostile wish or a hostile act. And I want you to know you did nothing to her. She did it to herself. She came to a meeting at the school and acted like a fool. She was inappropriate. So we are not having her back based on what she did, not based on what you shared. And that made me think of your dad, because yeah, he was a depression, raise yourself by your bootstraps. So he wouldn't know to take his son aside and say, you know, it wasn't right to give it to my own child, but I love you. You're a really good player. If it were somebody else, you probably would have made the team. And how can I make it up to you in our relationship? I know this is going to hurt, but I want you to know that I did it for ethics, not because of any inadequacy on your part. You know, like straightening it out. It was like the I'm sorry. You know, this supervisor, I could have held on to that. Oh my God, I ruined her career. She had an opportunity to be in Yale and Smith, and I ruined it for her. I didn't need to say it. No, he helped me right at that moment by saying, you did nothing. You did the right thing by sharing your troubles with us. And it's all good. And she, you know, whatever happens with her is her business. You know, it's not yours. So that's what I wanted to share about that. And I love that you framed the 3 ways it can hurt your soul by calling them lies. I thought that was great. And I love that you put it in the affirmative. For the solution is to know you're loved, to know you're safe, and to know your worthiness. That is just so beautiful. Yeah. Any reactions to that story that I told you? I mean, we could do that in our lives. We can, you know, straighten out imagined unforgiveness before it happens a lot of the time, just by telling the truth, you know, of what's going on. And because we can tell when someone's going to be hurt, right? I mean, it's usually not a big mystery.
I find that the world would be a much better place if people would do that, you know. But I also, sometimes people just aren't capable of that. I don't My dad, I can never remember him saying, I love you, until I basically forced him into it when he was older. I hug him. He never hugged, never did anything. Was a great dad, taught me to do a lot of things and it's really great, but never that until when I was much older. And I, like I said, I basically forced him into it. The first one was like, I love you, Dad. And so sometimes it'd be great if we could do that. And again, maybe that's what my brother got from it when he was dealing with his own kids. You know, I
Yes.
can hope so.
Yes, yes. And
That
that's
he did come around that way, you know.
yes. And that story was for us. It wasn't to judge your dad. I mean, my parents couldn't do anything like that, and they didn't have any tools, but we have
Right.
tools. We have tools and we can use them. And in some of my classes, because I teach the Enneagram, lately we've been talking about what do you need to do besides say, I'm sorry, if that's what's in your heart to say, and that's what you need to say what you're sorry for. I'm sorry does not do much for most people to receive. I'm sorry, unless you show you have seen what you're sorry for, like how they were injured or how they perceived, and not say, but this is what I was thinking. Oh, but no, just there might be another time for that, but I'm sorry for what I seem to have done, and leave the seam out. You know, I'm sorry your feelings got hurt. I'm sorry I said those words. I'm sorry you had that experience at my expense, or whatever the words are. And it seems to be brand new for people. That is not something we grew up knowing.
Oh,
People say, I said I'm sorry. Well, what were you sorry for? I don't know. I didn't even think.
right. Just say the words.
Yeah, it's not enough. And we can like alleviate a lot of the forgiveness by taking care of things in the now.
Yes, and I was going to say that it's such a vulnerability moment, because I'm thinking of a real life, fresh example in my own life where as tides are shifting in my family and I'm like cooking less for my husband, and he's sort of, you know, I can see where he seems to be like, do you have any energy, you know, like, do you have anything for me here, you know? So I'm cooking. Like yesterday, I'm like, I will cook. I've got a couple, and I'm learning how to put myself before his needs, which is, Rosalyn knows my Enneagram. That's like part of my healing, or for me to sort of evolve out of the limits of my avatar. But it really, I think if we have that opportunity, because it is like, it is a new, I like to call it the new frontier. It's a new frontier to look in someone's eyes and say, I can imagine you feel ignored, neglected, and I'm deeply apologize for that, but it is so beautiful that we're moving in that direction. I just got handed this. That's a good sign.
See, you are a musician.
I think she is, but I'm just grateful for the reminder. This is why we come together, because we want to go forward, as Jennifer teaches, and be the ones who go first, because I think once we do it, we're in that energy of love. We don't have to be the receiver, because it's the one giving, receiving. If we offer that extension of our heart, an apology, a sign of forgiveness, then it's done. And so I'm grateful for this coming together. And I sent people into the breakout for 35 minutes by mistake, so I'm going to call them back.
Oh, great.
That's not how long, but I let them know that was an error, but that's okay. So I will close the room, but they'll be coming back.
Yeah. So I love that you used that word vulnerability, because we're on the same wavelength now. For some reason, because that doesn't usually come up in Enneagram classes, but it's not usually an Enneagram subject, but that is what I'm talking about in all my classes, is vulnerability. And the landscape got changed about 13 years ago when Brene Brown made her, vulnerability talks, but that didn't teach us how to be vulnerable. It
No.
just taught us we should be vulnerable. We'll be healthier. It's good for relationships. She went into therapy for a year to learn how to be vulnerable. So I feel it's really, really important to be talking about that and owning it like you are. Oh, I can't really do that apology unless I determine that I'm safe here, that I desire to prevent the forgiveness effort, that there won't be something I need to be sorry for. Welcome back, everybody. How were the breakouts? Were they good? Shake your hands if they were good. Yay. Oh, that's great. You can put in the chat if you like whatever worked for you, or whatever your message is that you would like to take away. And so this is the time now that we get to thank all of you for so much gratitude that we feel for the support of the Power of Love ministry. We pay our speakers, we pay our musicians, and it takes an entire staff to put on the Sundays with Spirit behind the scenes. And so we thank you if you have been making donations. We thank you for showing up. That is a great support. We can't have this without your support of presence. So that is number one, and we appreciate that. You can, if you would like to be part of the group that's contributing financially, GJ's put on the chat exactly where you can do that at the Power of Love Ministry. And you can get a daily message that's inspirational, that comes from Jennifer, and it comes from Course in Miracles. And you can sign up for these inspirational text messages with only $1 as the minimum, or you can make a monthly transaction, a donation, and a tithe. It's all appreciated, or you can do a one-time of any amount that you would like. So that is my request for support for this Sunday service. And now I'd like to make some announcements before we go to another song and another prayer. Something very exciting is happening starting August 16th. And that's Reverend Karen Russo is doing a training intensive to create and lead your own workshops. If you've been a person who has a message inside, this is for people who are new speakers, new workshop leaders, or wannabes. They will, and I say they because Jennifer Hadley is going to join Karen Russo, who's also a reverend, and they've been lifelong prayer partners, lifelong meaning 20, 30 years. And they're going to work together to give you very specific training around content, around what to charge, how to format the material. It's going to be very, very exciting. And it starts August 16th. It's going to be 5 sessions, and it'll all be the same time, but different days, staggered in a very short period. So I think that's a powerful way to teach this material, all starting August 16th. And you can still join the self-sabotage challenge. It started July 20th, but you can get the replays. And that is an amazing workshop where you go into your own inventory of how you may be keeping yourself small in a way, but self-sabotaging. And then, keeping with the theme of stop playing small, on September 9th, one of Jennifer's most favorite workshops are going to start. It's an intensive 2 weekends. It's online. And when I say it's her favorite, it's, they're all her favorite. But this is one where she says it's one of her best programs to eliminate the root causes of playing small and releasing your limitations and beliefs in lack. So how much better could that be than having more joy in your life? So before we have our final song and prayer, Billy and Andrea, do you want to tell us how people can follow you further? And
Well, we're on Facebook, and I also put my website in the chat, which and Billy's website, okay, theforgivenessstory.com. I'm going to put that in the chat after our next song as well, but thank you.
GJ may have that, but if not, you put it in. That's great.
Okay.
All righty. Can we have a last song, please?
Yeah, we're going to rock out. Yeah. There's a vibe in the air, and it feels like love. People shuffling their feet, and they're praying too. There's a white light shining on the road ahead. There's a lot of people saying heaven is at hand. A lot of people praying in this promised land. Ancient wisdom is a rocking. Heaven is at hand. Keep on praying in the free world. Meditation in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world. Meditation in the free world. Yeah. I see a woman in the night with an angel by her side, under an old street light, near a garbage can. And there's a force in her life, and it keeps her mind clear. A source she relies on, one power, one God. She does her meditation every day, every night. There's a lot of people saying heaven is at hand. Keep on praying in the free world. Meditation in the free world. Keep on rocking in the free world. Meditation in the free world. Bring it down low. We got 1,000 points of light for the homeless man. We got a kinder, gentler community. We got green gas, electric cars, organic food, a 5-step prayer, intention too. A woman of the people says, yes we can, yes we will, yes we are. We are flying in the free world. Meditation
Straight to God, straight embodiment. Thank you so much. Rocking in the real world. Thank you. Meditation in the real world. So beautiful. Thank you both so much. Angela, will you lead us out with a prayer?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Right before my prayer, I would just like to mention that we are currently looking for people who'd like to participate in Miracle Circles. And Miracle Circles are weekly Zoom 1-hour meetings where you can come together with other like-minded people and share your journey, share your forgiveness journey, share your journey of living the course's principles. So I will put a link after, well, I probably should do that before the prayer and we're leaving. I will put a link in the chat and that will send you to our Miracle Circle page to learn more about it. And at the bottom of the page, there is an application if you're interested to be a participant or a facilitator. So
Angela, before you do the last prayer, would you tell us how people can get in contact with you if they wish to do spiritual counseling or Kundalini or any of the things that you
thank you.
specifically provide?
Yeah, sure. So I will also put my email address here in the chat. If you are interested, yes, I am a certified spiritual counselor through Jennifer's ministry. And so, yeah, my
Also on YouTube,
Yeah.
Angela did a whole year of her take on the workbook lessons. So if you would like a personal account that's really very intimate, I would suggest you look that up on YouTube.
Okay, I can put that in the chat too. Thank you, Rosalyn, my
Yeah.
manager without fees. Thank you. Okay, great. So we can place our hand on our heart and just give thanks for the gloriousness of this service. Thanking each and every person who is showing up here to be in the vibration of love and light, to represent who we really are and whose we really are. We thank you, Rosalyn, for your gentle, tender, attentive, thoughtful lead of this service. Thank you so much for all that you put in, and mainly your heart fully. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Billy, for your beautiful music, for rocking us out and also touching us deeply. And thank you, Billy, for sharing from your heart, sharing your practices that we can take forward into our lives. We're grateful to be able to go forward, remembering our worthiness, remembering our safety, remembering the love that we are, and also being willing to do the practice of removing all the blocks to knowing that, to embodying that. We're grateful for the tools we have been given. We go forward to practice them, to see everything as an opportunity. We go forward to be the light workers of this world with deep gratitude. We let the healing be, we let this remembrance be, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, GJ, for your behind the scenes brilliant support. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Bye. Have a wonderful Sunday. Mwah.